Whoops. It really is a great pleasure to be here. This is such an exciting meeting and such an exciting time for our field and our growing field. You know, biology and engineering all coming together. There's so many opportunities. So as Jeff mentioned, I joined DARPA about a year and a half ago. I came there from my sort of escaping my day job as a professor of bioengineering at the University of Pittsburgh. This is actually a photo of me before I left Pitt. Seriously, you know, for 20 years prior to coming to DARPA, my focus has been on science and technology challenges that we must face if we're to build devices that can integrate seamlessly with the nervous system. And we need those devices because there's many instances of injury and disease where the nervous system needs help, and we can help it by creating technology that integrates and restores function through direct communication with the nervous system. So I've been very passionate about this work for many years, but I came to DARPA because I wanted to move more aggressively that technology that we've been developing in the lab and get it out into the community where many people need the technology. And so, you know, Jeff showed some great demonstrations this morning of work that my colleagues and I have done at the University of Pittsburgh. There's many other examples of this wonderful technology, but until it's actually moved out into the real world, as Jeff said, it's just a science project. So that's why I'm at DARPA. So the theme of this meeting is biology is technology, and indeed, biology is a very powerful technology. And throughout history, we've recognized that different biological systems possess many unique and often highly specialized capabilities. And we have often sought to leverage those capabilities to serve our own needs. And a primitive example of that is the common canary, used by early coal miners to detect the presence of poisonous gases in mines. Probably many coal mines in Pittsburgh have some dead canaries floating around from their service. A more modern example of biology as tools is the dog, also used to detect chemical threats, but used as well to provide personal assistance to people with mobility and vision impairments. But in addition to biology serving us as providing tools, biology has also provided inspiration for several new technologies. We call these biomimetic technologies or bioinspired technologies. And several examples are shown here. So for example, biology has taught us how to make materials with extremely strong adhesive properties by mimicking the finely textured surface of gecko feet. As well, biology has taught us how to make small-scale flying machines by mimicking the wing mechanics and aerodynamics of insect flight. And of course, biology has produced the world's most powerful computer, the human brain, which is capable of processing and storing vast amounts of information while requiring very little energy. Some reference to neuromorphic computing architectures were made this morning. Even the most advanced of those so-called neuromorphic computers are incapable of competing with the efficiency and power of the brain. So true inspiration provided by biology. But there's another area of biological technologies that I'm most passionate about. So outside of the domain of biology as tools and biology as inspiration, there's a third area, and that's the deep integration of technology with biology, such that technology can work with biology to improve physiological conditions. And my favorite example or vision for this was provided by George Lucas in this scene from The Empire Strikes Back, where Luke Skywalker is fitted with an advanced prosthetic hand that, as you can see, looks, moves, and even responds to tactile input, just like our own hands do. Wouldn't it be great if we could provide our wounded soldiers with a device like this? Imagine having the ability to take skin, muscle, bone, and even nerve, and couple it directly and effectively with engineered devices such as prosthetic limbs or even engineered organ replacements. This is part of my vision, and work that ongoing at DARPA is moving us closer to this vision. So that's ultimately where we'd like to go. Let's look at where prosthetics have, how prosthetics have evolved. So this image shows a prosthetic toe, which dates back to 600 BCE. So for thousands of years, we've been building prosthetics. Believe it or not, this particular model is purely a cosmetic device in that it provides very little functional benefit to the wearer, but is worn for cosmetic purposes. And indeed, many prosthetic devices over the years and even today are still used primarily for cosmetic reasons. People want to look normal, okay? And even though devices such as this don't provide any functional benefit, the appearance alone is a benefit to the user. But over time, we started, engineers got involved, and we decided we should add capabilities to these devices. And so the first body-powered prosthesis was created in the early 1900s, clearly lacking in the cosmesis category, but hugely important in the function category in that it provides the wearer with an ability to grasp objects. Jeff showed us this morning the new DECA arms, which have been created just in the last decade. Those devices really represent technology that has the capability or the potential to provide wholly normal hand and arm function. But until we're able to couple those devices directly to the nervous system and directly to the physiology of the users, even those most advanced robotic arms will remain limited. So even though in the space of prosthetic limbs, our ability to integrate technology with the body remains limited, there's another area of the prosthetics field that is starting to change that. And that's the area of neural prosthetics, which really began in the 50s with the cochlear implant. With the cardiac pacemaker. The cardiac pacemaker, as many of you know, is a device which uses electrical stimulation, which is delivered to the nerves and muscles of the heart to restore normal beating patterns of the heart. The technology, which is fairly simple, it's a battery, some leads which route electricity to the heart, and some electronics which control the timing and intensity of stimulation. That simple device has saved thousands of lives and is used today by millions of people. Incredible impact on society with fairly simple technology. That same core technology has been extended to treat and cure deafness in people with damage to the hair cells in their inner ear. Those people can have a cochlear implant, which uses electrical stimulation to bypass the damaged region of the ear and convert sound information into spatially and temporally patterned pulses of electrical stimulation, which are delivered to the auditory nerve, providing profound improvements in hearing function. Again, fairly simple technology, large electrodes placed on the nerve, but providing meaningful impact or restoration of function. Again, the same technology platform has been extended even further more recently to treat brain disorders. So deep brain stimulation is a technology which is used to target precise regions of the brain which have become damaged due to neurodegenerative disease or trauma. This technology, developed initially for movement disorders such as Parkinson's disease and essential tremor, is now being extended to treat an even wider range of brain disorders. So again, the technology platform, the core sort of engineered bits of this technology remain largely the same, even though the physiology that's being targeted is clearly becoming increasingly sophisticated. At DARPA, we're working to change this and to build technology that is increasingly more sophisticated and provides increasing function to the users. And so doing this requires that we overcome two key challenges. First, we need, excuse me, I'm going to take some water. First, we need to make sure that the devices we design and place in the body don't cause damage to the very cells, the neurons of the brain that we're trying to communicate with. And second, because the brain and body are a harsh saltwater environment, we need to make sure that the devices we implant are rugged enough and robust enough to withstand or to hold up in that harsh environment. Essentially, it's salt water, and which is not a particularly friendly environment for microelectronics. So these are two fundamental challenges that we need to address from an engineering standpoint. And so much of my work at DARPA is focused on creating devices that meet these challenges. So we're creating microelectrode arrays and microelectrode arrays that can be placed inside and around the nerve to extract or deliver signals associated with someone's intention to move or someone's physiological state. Okay? And so by implanting these devices in the body and engineering them to retain their function for decades, we can use the technology to create a viable communication path between the nervous system and the outside world. And we can, once we have that communication path, then what we can do is we can exchange information directly with the nervous system. Okay, so doing this obviously requires that we understand something about the language of the nervous system. So fundamental neuroscientific research is needed to understand how information is processed, stored, and converted in the nervous system, and then that provides us with a language with which we can communicate directly to neurons. Okay, so two aspects of my program, two aspects of my work: engineering of interface technology and fundamental understanding of how the nervous system encodes information. I'm applying that work to two different programs, both of which are brand new. Haptics is the first program, just kicked off last week. It stands for hand, proprioception, and touch interfaces. And the goal of haptics is really to bring us meaningfully closer to that Luke Skywalker vision, where amputees can receive a prosthetic hand that responds to natural intentions to move. So the user can just think about moving their hand and it responds appropriately. And when that hand makes contact with an object in the environment, the wearer immediately recognizes that object that's in its grasp. Okay, they'll have a hand that literally feels like their natural limb. Now, to do this requires that we create technology that can be implanted safely and reliably in the body. And so we're working with academic groups and medical device companies to make technology that can be implanted safely into humans and used permanently for the rest of their lives. So within the goal that the schedule for this program is very aggressive. Within 4 years, we expect to have an FDA-approved device that can be implanted into our users. And then those people will be able to take that technology home with an advanced prosthetic hand and use it in their activities of daily living. So we're going beyond just the laboratory demonstrations in this program, okay? We want to create real technology that real people will take home and use in their everyday lives, okay? Real technology for the real world. But we're also going beyond prosthetics. Okay, so we recognize the incredible capabilities or opportunities that the nervous system provides, and we want to tap into those opportunities to look at other areas of medicine where we might have impact. And so with electrics, our goal is to fundamentally change the approach to medicine. If you think about how medicine is practiced today, when you're not feeling well, what do? You go see your doctor. He or she will run a series of tests. Based on the results of those tests, a diagnosis will be made. And based on that diagnosis, some treatment will be recommended. In most cases, that treatment will be a prescription medication, a drug of some sort. In other cases, you might have to have therapy or even surgery. But in general, that's the model. You see your doctor, have some tests done, take your prescription, and go home. Lots of problems with that model, and with electrics, we aim to fundamentally change that by creating technology that communicates directly with the nervous system to leverage the function of the nervous system in its role in monitoring and maintaining health in our bodies. We already talked about the cardiac pacemaker as a device that controls internal organs such as the heart. Like the heart, all organs of our body are connected to the nervous system, and by tapping into those neural pathways, we can gain information about health physiology, and as well, we can intervene to restore health physiology by controlling organ function directly. So our goal for electrics is to first understand how it is the nervous system monitors and regulates organ function, and then use that knowledge to design new technology that can interface reliably and precisely with those visceral organ circuits that we need to control. So you can think of this technology system as triage nurse, physician, and pharmacist, all wrapped up in a device that provides continuous monitoring of health status and real-time intervention for changes in disease. Like our other programs, we have a very aggressive schedule for delivering this technology into the real world, and within 5 years, we're going to show proof of concept in humans. So those are just two areas where I'm working aggressively to take and develop technology and integrate it into the nervous system to restore meaningful functions and provide new treatment options for people with injury and disease. Clearly, there are many other areas where technology and biology could be integrated, and I just want to close by highlighting a few that I find particularly interesting. Because we are starting to understand much about how energy is processed and stored in the body, imagine if we could engineer devices that could interface with those physiological processes, harvest energy, and use it to power implanted devices, or even your smartphone. We already have the ability to produce complex 3D tissue structures. Imagine if we could further the capabilities of that technology to engineer whole organ replacements and then integrate those engineered organs directly into our physiology. And lastly, we already have the capability to engineer neurons of the brain to possess new functions, such as the ability to emit or respond to light. Carl, if you're still here, thanks for that. Imagine if we had the ability to, imagine if we could create technology that could interface with those engineered neurons to provide new treatments for neurodegenerative diseases, such as Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. So clearly, there are many other areas where many other new and exciting opportunities in the biological technology space. These are just a few of the areas that I'm passionate about. I look forward to opportunities today and tomorrow to speak with many of you about your passions in biological technologies. Thank you.